It's another edition of ThursDIAZ. We are starting right on time. I'm your host, Beto Duran. And every single week, ThursDIAZ continues to evolve with you. Thank you so much for everybody that subscribes on YouTube and listens on iTunes or Spotify. We appreciate you. A kind of a slow week, but we're going to get going. And what I've noticed is that it's always about the plática, the talk, and the interaction with you, the fans. And today it's going to be very interactive, so get your good questions in, and we're going to get to it. No agendas, nothing else. We are joined, as always, by Joel Diaz and Roberto Diaz. Señores, muy amables, thank you for joining us. Joel, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. We've been, up to this moment, we've been affected by this coronavirus, and it's crazy because we still can't train at the Boys and Girls Club. They shut us down. And they wanted to open again. They shut us down for 2 weeks.
Ooh.
As a matter of fact, I never stopped training. We all had access to the Boys and Girls Club. So the gym is and it's separate, and but it's Boys and Girls Club, and we kept going until recently. It's been maybe like 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, a month ago. They came in and said, "Hey, we can't be training. You guys have to, we have to close the facility."
Wow.
Wow. So due to that, I mean, I was stressing so bad for a couple of weeks. I mean, I don't know what to do, man. These guys need to train. So I mean, as you can see, Antonio and I train the kids, the amateurs. We train them at the ranch. In the afternoons, we hook up our trucks and attachments and bags, and we do mitts with them. We take them to the ranch out in the open, and we train them. But the pros, we have a few pros that have dates already, and we can't just train them out in the ranch, So I started looking around for a building to rent a place or something. Just meanwhile, and I couldn't find anything. So I asked Cub Swanson. I've trained Cub Swanson for I think over 8 years.
The MMA fighter.
Cub Swanson is an MMA fighter, UFC fighter, and I worked with him for, like I said, over 8 years. He has a gym here in India, close to my house, as a matter of fact, and it's a really nice gym. But it's all for MMA, just mats and bags for classes that he has. So I asked him. I said, "Hey, Cub, I mean, can we use your gym, just to train as coach anytime?" So we went in there. We started training, but it was getting a little hard for us because we didn't have a ring. It's just mats, and we need some sparring. So I started looking around. I said, I'm gonna have to find something where I can put a ring. I need a ring and legitimate equipment like speed bags, double M bags, boxing punching bags. So I talked to Cub and I told him, "Hey, Cub," and he says, "Coach, do whatever you want to do in the gym. You want to make the modifications, go ahead." So what I did, Antonio and I told Antonio, we've been tired all these days. We just back and forth. We train in the morning from 11 to 3, and then at 6:30 we go to the ranch and train the kids. I said, "Antonio, I'm tired, but we have to do it. We got these guys already with scheduled dates." So one day I told them, "Hey, let's go get the ring. And we'll install it." We came in at 6:30 one night, like 3 days ago. I think it was Wednesday. No, early this week. So we go to the gym and we prepare everything. We cut the mats perfectly to size. We brought the ring. We had a lot of help from some of the young guys, my son and his friends, my nephew, and we brought the ring and we installed it. And I said, "I want this to look nice." So my son one day he says, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a ring mat. We don't use it anymore. It has a Golden Boy logo and everything. It's blue, and the gym is blue." So I said, "Okay, let's put it on." So we put it on, make it look nice. We put everything around. Actually, Cub Swanson told me, "Coach, that looks beautiful, man. That's great." Because I didn't take no space from his gym. Adding the ring, it just gave him more space because now people want to go in the ring and train. He has personal classes. They have a personal. They train people conditioning and stuff like that. So now when people go, they want to jump in the ring and they're like, "Okay, no problem. One on one." And I mean, we added some bags, double M bags, and now everybody's training happily just until we see what's going to happen over here. But for now, we're set for a while.
As you said yesterday when you texted me, nothing's going to stop me, Beto. that you got to find a
Stop.
will. There's a way. And Roberto, hello to you. You've been busy because the business side is still going on. What's the latest with you work-wise?
Making the calls, telling everybody to stay ready. As you know, fights happen right now that have been falling out last minute. So these are opportunities for those that are ready. And I'm not just talking about our cards. Everybody, is going to be making fights. And for whatever reason, they cannot happen, or they're not going to find somebody, or the borders are closed, travel restrictions. So now more than ever, it's time to be, stay ready, get ready, and be ready. On our side, we're excited. We have 2 dates now. We're looking forward to some good fights, and more than anything, to bring back the fans, that have been asking, hey, when is Golden Boy going to start too? When are their fights going to start? They want to see some of their favorite fighters, and the first 2 steps have been made. Forward.
Was it July 24th is going to be Fantasy Springs, no fans. Let's just get the business out there. No fans. Fights on DAZN. And it's going to be Linares on that one. Correct, Roberto?
July 24th will be Virgil Ortiz against Samuel Vargas, a fight that we had already made back in March that was going to be at the Forum. They got canceled, so it was only right that, Virgil was a week and a half or 2 before his fight, when all this got shut down. And he'll be back. And then, I'm excited also about the co-main event, just to see some of these kids that were ready, training, and willing to step in. You got Hector Tanahara Jr. against Mercito Gesta, 2 very good lightweights, and Shane Mosley will be making his Shane Mosley Jr. will be making his Golden Boy debut. Cenicia Estrada's back, so it's going to be exciting. Evan Sanchez, July is going to be fun just to get going and get those fights moving, those fighters moving up.
And then on August, there's a card announced. That's the one I was talking about. Linares taking on
Javier Fortuna.
Wow.
Javier Fortuna, you got 2 former world champions in both of them. It's a very important fight. Fortuna was scheduled prior to the pandemic to fight Luke Campbell. So, it's a very good fight. It's a 50-50 fight. Anybody that's seen Fortuna, he's a puncher. He's awkward. He's southpaw. He's aggressive, and Jorge obviously is the boxer, the speed, so it's going to be good contrast in styles. People, I was very happy to see the response from the fans that, hey, this is a 50-50, it's a good fight. I said it a few months ago when we first started, look, that's what it's about. Let's make some good fights. At the end of the day, boxing wins.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. So the people are checking in. Leti Arreola, Sule Morbina. Now we get going. And saludos to everybody. What are we drinking today?
Well,
Wine. Vino. Roberto?
A little scotch, a little Macallan.
Wait, a little Macallan. That's a Macallan 18 year.
Roberto,
Mira,
I got a bottle from Dominican Republic.
Aye.
And we'll see how I open it later on. I got some hielitos. It's Ron Barcelo.
Is that that's Dolorme? Dolorme es dominicano or puertorriqueño?
Dolorme brought it.
Yeah. I figured. Yeah.
It's a gift from Dolorme. It's a nice bottle. It's beautiful. Ron Barcelo Imperial.
Wow. 30 años?
30?
Yep.
Wow.
Roberto has the Macallan 18. And I am scared of you guys. I got a 101 cider. It's actually good. This is going to mess me up. It's 4%. Pineapple mint, blue spiruna. It's called Jet Skis in Cabo because I'm already on vacation mode. 101 cider. And it has the calories a little bit, the carbs 0. And the best part about that is that it's going to get me buzzed. The last time I had one, my friend Ricky Romero, the baseball player, he invested in the company and his wife is vegan. So it's vegan friendly, all that other good stuff. I had one and I'm thinking a cider, and I started getting it. Una peda que me puse. So today I'm getting ready. I have this cider.
Is that gluten free?
Yeah, it is. All that stuff. I'm going to start healthy. It's this one. It's the next one is the guayaba.
Oh, they have different flavors.
Yeah. So 101 cider, a guayaba flavor, and It's like this one is 6.9% alcohol, but it's a cider. So I'm going to get loaded. This one's 4. And then, of course, once I started getting toasty and I started talking trash about everybody, I have
Letty.
So
the rumor on social media was you had finished that last week. So it's not true then.
No, this is the second bottle. You know what? Once I realized that I'm not going to work until the end of July, hopefully, I said, you know what? Forget it. I went and got a haircut for nothing. I have my shot right here. Saludos a todos. I was like, here, I did get a haircut. It doesn't matter. Y saludos to everybody because it's ThursDIAZ and it's a holiday weekend. And today, una plática nomás. Let's just tell stories. Salud.
Salud.
Ooh.
You got 3 gallons of tequila, Beto, so you're good for a while.
It's a 3-day weekend. I'm ready. All right. And
the start 4th of July was early.
Well, there we go. I'm ready to go. All right. So today what I want to get is into the stories. And I saw this on Joel's Instagram. You were talking about having the new arena, the new venue, the new everything, a new gym that you got to find. Roberto, for you as matchmaker, you got to figure out where the heck you're going to have a fights. Take me back with story time today. We'll start with you, Roberto. The first time while you're working where it fell apart and you just said, oh my God, how am I going to pull this off? It can be a fight. It can be a match. It's just one of those days where, because there's a pandemic and we all have to adjust. What's one of the best or most memorable moments in your career where you've had to adjust?
I think a lot of shows, something's going to happen. There is no such thing in boxing as the perfect show. In fact, a good example is earlier in the year, this year, a lot of the cards were done so far in advance. I mean, February's card, I was already working on May's card. You know, before February's card took place, I was already working on the May card, the May undercard, and start putting together fights. But March was done, and I'm talking the DAZN and the Thursday series. April's cards were done. So I felt so good because the stress when you need opponents and you haven't made fights, and that moment that you might have to call your fighter and say, look, I'm not able to deliver an opponent, or the opponent fell out, it's always very stressful. So this year was so good to know that those cards were already done. However, because those cards are done, what can happen now? Well, you can get that call. Oh, I got cut in training. I'm out. The longer they're done, the more chances there are for them to fall, because it is an impact sport where they're sparring every week and through injuries and stuff. So what happened? I was so excited that I'm like 3 months ahead, so I could like put a little bit of the foot off the gas, and we get the COVID. All these cards got canceled. So who would have ever dreamed or expected this COVID or the shutdown? Never in our lifetime have we seen anything like this. So never in could you even imagine something like this? So that's one of the things. But I think as a fight card, because of the short-term memory, it was this year. I think it was this year. No, it was last year in Chihuahua. Joel was with me when I show up. And I think we talked about this a few weeks back, where we show up for the first time. Duarte's going to be the main event out back in his home in Parral. And what happened? Or it was Chihuahua. I don't know if it was.
It was Chihuahua. It wasn't Parral. It was in Chihuahua.
The last one was in Parral. So the first one was in Chihuahua.
Vargas was on the same card.
Correct. Yeah. So the local promoter is not around yet. It's start time in like 15 minutes. I'm like, where is he? You got to remember, Mexico's a different system. The local promoter is a politician. He's used to getting there right before the main event or the co-main event, and he has a couple employees. When I get there, 15 minutes before we go on, there's some of his fighters that are not here. He has the first fights. I have the last fights. And I'm like, where is he? Where's his people? Where's the gloves for these guys? I mean, there's all these things that where we're not going to start on time. So I'm getting my guys to get ready that if that first fight's not starting, go to the second one. And if that second fight's not here, go to the third one. You got to adjust. You got to get ready and you got to improvise. When he got there 5 minutes before start time, he tells me, "What do you mean gloves? You guys were supposed to bring the gloves." And I'm like, "How do we bring the gloves for your guys? I don't even know who you guys are, what brands, this and that. I'm coming from the U.S. I can't travel with all this bag." I remember he sent people to the store to buy gloves. He sent people to the gyms to find gloves. He sent them all. But in the meantime, I'm furious because we're going to start late. But I wasn't, it was a miscommunication. At the end of the day, we started passing our gloves to them. Don't cut the laces. Use them for the next one and the next one. And we got through. And that's what you learn to not, maybe in the first couple shows, I would have gone nuts and maybe a heart attack. But with experience, you learn to all right, you got to adjust.
Yeah, but.
And then to top it off,
the lights went out.
The lights went out during the fight. They're like, oh, man. I mean, it was during Oscar Duarte, the main event.
Yeah, the main event.
Oscar Duarte and the lights go out in the entire venue. And
yeah, so you can imagine how I felt right there. Whatever could go wrong was going wrong. I think Vargas, who's always come out with a mariachi song, they come out with some no sé qué otra. I'm like, what's going on? Everything was getting and I'm like, oh my God. They said my face just went when the lights went out. Luckily, the lights went out right at the end of the bell, and they came back on right at the beginning. So they were only out for less than that minute break.
No.
So it didn't really cause back. But imagine the lights don't come back on your main event just getting started.
Mexico.
That's crazy.
Mexico.
And then, Beto, another thing was very concerning for everybody. And I know Roberto remembers this. Outside the dressing room of Oscar Duarte,
yes,
there was probably 500 people.
Huh?
Yes.
And there was no control.
There was no control, security, nothing. They got out in the back, and you're supposed to have some kind of credential, some kind of wristband to be back there. Like Joel said, and they were actually going into the dressing room to say hello, good luck, before the fight. And then after the fight, after the fight, ya para eso, hey, go. But before the fight, Joel has to get him ready. Yeah. The kid has to be focused. He's a great kid. If people walked in, hey, una foto. Okay.
No.
You can't do that.
Oh, yeah. There was so many people in the dressing room. I had to tell some of Oscar Duarte's friends, please, guys, help us out. We need everybody out. I even form a barrier. I form a barrier so people don't come in. So they closed a door, like a gate. And outside the gate, you couldn't even walk out. There were so many people trying to get in. And I said, man, this is getting crazy out there. When I walk out to go with Francisco Vargas, to get back in, it was hard for me because they didn't want to open the door because everybody wanted to get in. Everybody wanted to rush in. So until before Duarte's fight, they had some control and they put some barriers there, some barricades to guide the people and stay them away. But for a while, it was concerning because everybody wanted to rush in the dressing room.
It's when you go different places. That's why I love asking you guys these stories or these questions about and get these stories, because you're always going to go and see something different. Like for people who have a normal 9-to-5 job, it's you go in, you know what time your lunch. And boxing, there's always a different story. Joel, for you though, what's one of those times where you just said, I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm losing control of here.
Well, to me, honestly, there's been many times where I come home and I go to my room and I don't know if either to cry or scream. Honestly. Yeah. No, seriously. There was one time where I was training Bradley and I was training Julio, my brother, and Julio tells me, he says, I have a fight and I need you. Okay. And then I go to the gym and Bradley comes and says, Coach, I have a fight. He was going to fight. At that time, he was scheduled to fight. I don't remember who it was, but I had two fighters that I trained fighting the same day in different venues. And they both needed me. And I don't know what to do, honestly. I didn't say anything. I said, Julio's my brother. How can I say no? Bradley started with me, and every single one of his fights is when he relies on me. So it was one of those moments where, you just stress so much that you don't even sleep until eventually, like I said, I always tell myself this. I stress for a couple of days, but then everything falls in place. Like, for example, this now. I mean, we can't train at the gym where we usually train. We can't, and we understand there's protocols, right? There's guidelines we have to follow. But right now we have fights, and I am the leader of the team. I can't just say, okay, we're not gonna train. There is fighters that have scheduled fights already. So when we can't train at the gym, I gotta move around and I have to improvise. I have to move. I mean, I can tell you this, Beto. In the last couple of weeks, I mean, I've been hustling. I hardly sleep. I go to sleep late. I wake up early morning, but I have to make those. I have to improvise. I have to make sure that my team is gonna get their training, their proper training, and when they're not, I'm not comfortable. Right now, I am comfortable, but I'm not stable. I got projects. I got something big coming. You guys are gonna see. But right now, I think I'm okay temporarily, but pretty soon I have something big coming up. And I've improvised. My fighters are training, and they're getting the proper training they need to get ready for the fights. But it's those improvisations that we have to do in those tough moments that we have to come through. We have to always think ahead and look after our team, look after our people. And I'm like that. I will not stop. Like I told you the other day, nothing's gonna stop me. I have to make sure that my team is getting the proper training.
Coach, since we started doing this show, what, March, April? I don't even. Whenever we started doing this show, I've heard nothing but positive comments from you. Even when we text, tengas un buen día, Beto, con ganas. And this is the first time I've heard you ever since I've known you the last 5 years, where I can sense some frustration in your voice. For you personally, how hard has this been for you?
It's been hard because I feel like I have a big weight on my back, because I mean, I am the trainer, and all these guys, they come to me and they rely on me. So I'm the person responsible for for the training. So I can't just sit down and relax and say, okay, everything's gonna be fine. I can't. I'm gonna tell you guys, this is the way it's been. And this is what's been happening in the last 3 weeks. I bought a building like 5, 6 years ago, 6,250 square feet. It's a big building. It used to be a furniture store. Okay. And, I'm going to bring it out right now just because you just asked a question. And based on the circumstance, I'm going to tell you. As soon as they told us, okay, we cannot train at our gym where we're staying, I wanted to make sure that I had a stable temporary a spot for my fighters. But I'm giving myself 3 months, and I'm determined to fix that building where I've been working day and night every day. I just got here right now, earlier. Look, as soon as I went back to that building, it's been there sitting there for 5, 6 years. I never done nothing to it because to me it was like an investment. Whenever I had time, maybe this is happening to me for a good reason. I see it in a positive way. Um, that building, transients were getting in and out, breaking the windows. I mean, they burned it one time. They burned a corner of it. I fixed it. As soon as I fixed it, they burned it again because they go in there and try to steal the copper wire. So I fixed it again, and they burned it again. So I said, okay, I'm going to leave it. So recently, there was a guy living in the building. I could never find him. He hoarded my building so bad that last week I said, I got to do something right now. I would wake up in the morning at 5 in the morning. I'll go load up my truck with trash, trailers. I threw 4 trailers full of trash to the dump, and 1 trailer full of metal that I took to the scrapyard. They gave me $50. Lawnmowers, bikes, you're talking about. I have not stopped in the last weeks. And then as, things are falling in place, to me, I feel like, okay, it's a positive thing for me. The last load I took to the dump, I didn't want to take it because there was a lot of traffic. So I took the trailer to the ranch and then I left it there. The next morning, I wake up early morning. I load up. I back up my truck and take the trailer to the dump. As I'm unloading, I'm coming back and I see a guy coming up to the dump with a trailer full of windows. My building has no windows because they broke them. So I tell the guy, hey, excuse me. I said, you're going to throw all those windows away? And they're new windows. They just remodeled the hotel. And he goes, yeah. I said, I need some. He goes, pull over. So he pulls over and says, I know you. You're Joel Diaz. Yeah, you don't know me. I don't remember you. He goes, yeah, when you used to do construction, I used to work out there. Oh, okay. He says, how many windows do you need? Well, whatever you got. He goes, go to the yard. I'll give you all the windows you need. Today, I went to his yard. He gave me some beautiful windows. He gave me 6 big windows for my building. I called Antonio. I called everybody, some of my friends. We went over there, unloaded them at the building. I got a contractor that's helping me right now. I'm getting the permits from the city. I called the guy, a friend of mine that does air conditioning. And I told him, hey, you know what? How much you think I would put into this building to put a air conditioning unit? He goes, why? I said, I'm doing a building. I'm doing a gym of my own. Really? I'm happy for you. And he tells me, you need like a 10-ton unit, for that square footage. 5 minutes later, he texts me, if you're doing your gym, your own gym, I want to donate $10,000. Where do I send the check? Like that. Wow. I said, thank you. I appreciate it. He goes, just give me an address. I want to donate $10,000 to your gym. Okay. Today, a guy called me. He goes, I want to donate a ring and 2 brand new treadmills. I've been working on the building every day since last week. I went out there. I removed all the drywall by myself. My son helped me. Antonio helped me. We go out there. Some of the people in the gym, some of the parents are coming around and hey, we're doing demolition on the drywall. We're gonna make that gym nice. My purpose on that gym is to be one of the best gyms because I have 6,250 square feet.
Joel, where's the gym?
Here in Indio, right close to my house.
That's awesome, man. And we always talk about karma.
Yeah.
When somebody does something bad. Well, that's karma. Because Joel's always the one helping and nourishing and everything. The whole community, the whole area out there knows him. And look at that. Here's the windows. I want to donate. Here's the gym here. That's good karma because you're always helping. So it's like payback.
Yeah. You know Tito Sanchez, right? Tito Sanchez fights Beto. Remember Tito Sanchez fights for Thompson?
Yeah.
His cousins, his uncles, they own a company, construction company. And they know, and they're talking about Tito. When is he coming back? And I say, you know what? Right now we're not back at the gym over there, but we're training over here. But I'm working on my gym, and they're like, hey, we want to do the bathrooms for you. We have all the material for the bathrooms. One of my friends that went to school with me, he has his own company of electrical. We had a meeting with him. I had a meeting with him 2 days ago. We had breakfast. He told me, hey, I'll do all the electrical for you. Jeez. One of the kids' parents that we train, he owns a plumbing company. He goes, we'll do all the plumbing for you. So right now, my goal, and you see, I just, as soon as I get that building going, like today, we were all out there. I go every morning, every afternoon, I'm out there. This weekend, I'm going to be working on it, clean it up, installing the windows, making things better. I'm giving myself 3 months. In 3 months, when I get that grand opening to the new gym, I want to invite you guys personally.
Yeah.
Come over, and you guys are going to see what a difference it's going to make having such a big facility full. I had a welder today coming in and making, measuring for the punching bags. I'm going to have to me, I'm excited. Just looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Now it's yours. Now it's yours. I can open it at whatever time. Here's the keys. There's nothing better than that. That's awesome. That is awesome. Congratulations.
I own the whole building. I own the whole corner with the parking and everything. So, all I need to do is things happen I see it this way, Roberto. Things happen for a reason. And this needed to happen for me to step it up.
Well, yeah. If the people at the Boys and Girls Club, which I understand them, because of the pressures, and if something happens with one of the kids, the liability. But if they don't come to you and say, hey, you can't train right now, you can't use the gym, it has to be closed. Yeah. That building might still sit there empty until something comes up, or until you rent it, until you sell it, until because of that situation and how Joel is thinking about his fighters. What am I going to do? Stressing. Se prendió el foco, and 2 or 3 months from now, that's going to be one of the best gyms in boxing. So, congratulations, man.
I'm putting the. I've done construction all my life, so I know what it takes. I love to work. I mean, I wake up in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, and I'll head to the building and I do whatever it needs to be done myself. I don't need to, And right now, my son is helping me. Antonio's helping me. Some of the parents are helping me. They come around. Tomorrow, I have somebody coming over and working on some of the areas to make everything look nice for the city to come in and get the permits, so they can see that everything's proper, But I'm gonna add some bathrooms. I'm gonna add an office. I'm gonna have everything right, So I'm looking forward to this. Every day I'm moving. I mean, like I said, I train the boys in the morning. I mean, from 11 to 3. But in the morning, I'm working at the building. After that, either I go train the kids with Antonio, and then I go to the building. But I got a good project coming up. You guys will see.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. But I did see. I mean, in every negative, there's a positive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in every positive, there's a negative. I know. I saw an article by the Transient that said somebody stole all his carts and lawnmowers and all his metal, and they're actually looking for Joel for cleaning out that place.
Roberto, let me tell you something.
I can't believe one guy had all that. 4 trucks.
Roberto, I'm going to show you videos. Watch. This guy was there for so long in a bike. He only had a bike. And he brought so much trash into the building. The guy next door, he has a mechanic shop. And he told me, you know what? This guy, he used to live up in my roof, on the roof. And up on the roof, he had a desk. He had a mattress. He had a couch. He had everything. So before he kicked him out of his roof, he came to my building, and then all the neighbors around there, they're like, man, because I was trying to find him, but the police will go over there, and they will talk to him, but he was brave, and he would want to fight the police. So not even the police could get him out there. So one day I go out there, I want to find him myself. So I go out there one day early morning, and I took, those 2 guys that Jose de la Cruz.
Yeah. Los chilenos.
I go, hey guys. He goes, Coach, we'll help you. So they come with me, and then I go, and the doors are open to the building, and he's sitting on the couch like this, asleep. No shirt, no shoes, only pants. And I go, hey, wake up. And he goes, well, what's up? I said, you need to leave. I said, hey, I'm the owner, and you're out of here. I said, look at all this mess you got. I have to clean up after you. I go, I got tickets for you making a mess outside. He goes, I'll clean up. No. You're not going to clean up. You get out of here. As he's walking out, he's like, can I get my shoes? Just get your shoes, because this is the last time you're going to see anything is here. And then he's like, I'll clean for you. I go, no, get out of here. I'm going to clean it myself. I'd rather have you leave. I'll clean, but I don't want to see you again. And he's like, trying to be brave. And I go, what? And I get close to him, and he goes, what? Why are you squaring up for me? I'm just waiting for you to do something so I can knock your ass out. And the neighbors start coming out, right? And then they're like, man, nobody's ever done that to this guy. He's not going to come around.
Oh, so he's known. He's known in the neighborhood.
Yeah, he's known in the neighborhood, and people are scared of him. So he left, and it's been a week today since I got him. And since that moment on, I leave little things around the building to see if he comes back. He hasn't been back. One of the neighbors came and he goes, no, he's not going to come back. He goes, because nobody ever approached him the way you did. He goes, and the guy, he acts brave, but he's not. But every time we told him, he always said, oh, well, you guys are not the owners. I don't give a, So now he hasn't been around. So everything's clean, everything's good. As a matter of fact, I go out there in the mornings, I go in the afternoons, and everything's good. The neighbors are happy.
He's waiting till you have electricity, air conditioning, everything furnished para que ya llegue y diga, ahora sí no me voy, cabrón.
The neighbors already know. They got my number.
Oh, they'll call you right away now.
I said, hey, I live close by. If you guys see this guy right here,
Coach,
let me know.
Tonio just sent me a picture. You can't see it, but I'm going to show it to the people at home watching. It's a picture of the warehouse that you have, and it is bare bones. We see concrete and just the pillars, and it is a big project you got coming up on your hands.
Yeah. And you know what? I brought a contractor in, Roberto, and he told me, oh, you're going to have problems because this and that. I said, really? So I was mad. I was a little depressed. I said, I want to get this going. But then when he left, I started like knocking down drywall with a shovel, and I noticed that it's not a wood frame building. It's block. It's puro bloque. So I go, wow, what's this guy talking about? So the whole building, the whole side and the whole back is puras paredes de bloque. So I go, we got a structure. We got everything here.
It's a lot of work.
I called the guy that I used to work with years ago in construction, sheet metal. He used to be my boss. And he's talking to him. He's in San Diego. And I told him that I got a project going on. And he says, what do you got going? I said, you know what? I'm starting a gym on my own. He goes, what do you need? I say, look, can you help me out? I want to put sheet metal on top because, on the roof, it has some walls. I need some sheet metal. I want to put some skylights, get some nice light from the... He goes, anything you need, I'll give it to you. Anything you need. You need material, you need skylights, I'll give them to you.
Jeez.
Anything you need, just let me know. And if you want somebody to install them, he says, you work for me many years. I know you can install it yourself. But if you need help, I'll send help for you. I go, no, that's good enough. I mean, as long as you help me, that's fine. So everything is great.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I recommend you take pictures every day.
That's what my son's doing.
Because the transformation, once you're done, and you sit back and say, I did this, we did this, whatever, but that accomplishment feeling, and then el día de mañana to be able to say, look how this was, it was a dump, and look how it is now, nobody will ever believe it.
Yeah, and there's
one of the kids' parents, he's a painter. He tells Antonio, hey, don't let nobody touch the paint. I'm doing the paint in the building. All right. So
community coming together. That's what it is.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's going to help a lot of these young kids, not the pros, but a lot of the young kids stay off the streets, and it's going to help the community.
Yeah, and as Juan Tena types in right now, it sucks that I'm in NorCal, or else I'd help Joel with getting his building permit. That's what I do for a living. Title 24 building code. So when Joel Diaz North happens, we got a guy, Juan. And and as the Green-Eyed Bandit says, can we all take a shot in honor of Coach Joel for his bold boss moves? I say, yeah, we can. And ya llegó tu Gallo Razo. He just showed up. Tu Gallo Razo just showed up. And Razo, not since you're late, you just missed that Joel Diaz is building his own gym in India, 6,000 square foot. And you have a new job, Razo. You are now top flight security.
He's an electrician. Hey. You need an electrician, he'll go do all the electricity.
Razo's a gallo.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. You might turn on the light y se prende the heater, but, no. He's a badass electrician. And if you need a little bar to serve, not alcohol, but little protein drinks and all that, he just made a badass bar at home. So, props to Razo.
So, Razo, we're doing it all. So, cheers, everybody. Coach, we wish you best of luck and everybody with you here. Salud.
Thank you.
Woo! Thank you, Betty. Wow, that's a good one.
All right, you're gonna start running, huh?
I'm gonna go back to my Guayaba drink, but that's part of what we have here on ThursDIAZ. So right now, if you guys have questions, jump on in. It's a holiday weekend, so just type them up right now. Don't ask about Ryan Garcia. Don't ask about Canelo. Don't ask about fights that nobody knows. Nobody knows anything. Don't ask about what the zone's doing. Just don't ask that. Just ask fun, good questions. And we'll take care of you right now. Now, this is one where, Roberto, I'm asking you right here. I'm not acting dumb here. I just want to know from you. How does a fighter get ranked?
Okay, so let's say it's a pro debut, start to finish, right? So it's a pro debut, doing a 4-round fight. You're not going to get ranked. Nobody knows you yet. So you get a few wins. You go from 4 rounds to 6 rounds, 6 rounds to 8 rounds. Even at 8 rounds, you can fight for a youth title depending on your age. If you're, I believe it's 23 now, in the youth titles, you can fight for them. And once you fight for a youth belt, and you're still an 8-rounder, the organization will put you maybe in the top 30 of the world. But you're really introducing your fighter to the organization. Hey, WBC, WBA, WBO, IBF, this is my young fighter. Please let him fight for a regional belt. You're introducing him. So as he's defending that title, 1, 2, 3 defenses and moves to 10 rounds, he goes from 30 to maybe 20. Then you step him up into the 10 rounds, and you go to a different organization or that same organization because you're moving quickly, and you ask for a more significant title. And you win it, and that could crack you into the top 15. Now, once you're in the top 15, you qualify for a world title fight. And what I mean by that is the champion, if they don't have a mandatory in line, they have what is called a voluntary. They can pick anybody in the top 15 and do a voluntary. Recently, Maloney was the champion. Joshua Franco was not a mandatory, but it was in the ranking. So they said, oh, let's fight Franco. He qualifies to fight for the title, but he'll qualify as a voluntary. So you have to work with the organizations. That's why, all the people complain, the fans complain. There's too many titles. There's too many. At the world stage level, yes. World champions. You know what? I'm the old school. I grew up with Marvin Hagler being the middleweight undisputed world champion. Then it went on to Bernard Hopkins, undisputed, one champion. But now there's several organizations. There's 4 of the major organizations. There's actually more. So it's hard because it's hard to get them all to fight each other, because once you have one champion, he has a mandatory with this organization, a mandatory with it. He'll never finish mandatories. He's always going to have, so he'll never have that voluntary.
Got it.
So that makes it difficult. But introducing them to these youth programs, NABF titles, a lot of the youth champions with the WBC went on to become world champions. A lot of the NABF champions that we work with go on to become world champions. So it's little step by step. It's a process.
And this one comes from Marco 311, who just got done doing the cuetes with his kid. Does it bother you that the WBC has so many belts? Does it tarnish the belt a little?
I understand. So I've talked to a couple of the organization. I prefer, as a fan, like I said, one champion, maybe 2 in each division within all the organizations. I think having in each division multiple world champions, world champion in football, the Super Bowl champions, it's one team. In the World Series, the World Series champion, one team. NBA, it's one team. So the fans get confused now. Let's pick the lightweights. Who's the lightweight champion?
Oof.
Well, and you tell them as somebody that works in the industry, what organization are you talking about? No. Who's the world champion? I mean, there has to be one. No, well, there's the world champion here, the world champion here, the world champion here. Then there's this champion of this. It's confusing to them. So, as a fan, I would like to see 1 or 2. The business side of it, what happened was television was going to the promoters and saying, we'll give you a fee, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, but we want world title fights. Well, I can't give you world title fights week after week, month after month. There's only so many champions. So what did the organization say is, hey, in order to help the promoters provide the networks with what they want, we'll make up another title and another title, and it just, at the end of the day, it is a business, and that sort of affects the sport. Because if we go back to the 80s, when you had one and not as many divisions, you didn't have the junior divisions. It was only like 8 divisions. So the best in that division, the one they called the world champion, he was the best in the division. Today, you have multiple world champions that don't fight the best. They're still defending, but they're not fighting the best. So today, the meaning world champion, don't take me wrong, it still means a lot because you have thousands of fighters all over the world. So not everybody has that opportunity, but it sort of takes away when in today's era, well, he's the world champion, but there's also 5 others, 6 others, 7 others. It's a little bit frustrating on that point. But
it's the business side. I get it. I see both sides, but it's you're right. As the fan, you're just like, well, who's the champion? It goes back and Yeah, it goes back to the coach's guy, Marvin Hagler, where he's the guy. Es el gallo. That's where you want to know what's going on. This one comes in from Marco Favela. Coach, we'll start with you. What's one of the weirdest places you've been recognized by a fan?
It was in England.
England?
Yeah, in England. That was actually when Diego Magdaleno fought Terry Flanagan. We get to England, and most of the time I'm at the hotels. I like to just be at the hotel with the fighter, making sure everything's okay. And we're going to go to a press conference, and I have a nice shirt. And they wanted us to, buy a nice shirt. So I'm asking, hey, where can I buy a shirt? We're like a big store, like a mall. So they tell me, just take the street down and they make a left. And, when you see a fountain, make a left. So as I'm walking around the fountain, there's a lot of people walking in the street in the middle of nowhere. In the city. And before I even walk into the store, I hear somebody say, hey. And I look, he goes, you're a boxing trainer. And I'm like, you're Timothy Bradley's trainer. Yeah, can we take a picture? Like, all right. So that guy told another guy. And then all of a sudden I'm having like people taking pictures of me before I go in the store in England where I never thought my name was out there, But it threw me out because I'm like, hey, he's screaming. I'm like, and I just sort of turned and he goes, I know you boxing trainer. Like, you're Timothy Bradley's trainer. And it's, to me, it's been one of the places where like, okay, I never expected anybody to know me, but out in England.
And Roberto, the matchmaker, where do you get recognized? Because people know you.
I think England is one of those places because there's such big boxing fanatics, and we seem to not, it's not like we live there or we go there a lot, but they know everybody. And there's a word there that they bring up with a little bit of ease. And over here, we don't bring it up like that, but it's like, you're a legend. I'm like, they must be confusing me with Bobby Chacon, or they must be confusing me with one of these fighters, because what do you mean? I was at an arena once. Linares was fighting, and a fan up on the risers. I was up, obviously going to the locker room, coming back out, and a fan's waving. Come here. Can I get a picture? So I go over, I walk over, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Blah, 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 enjoy the fight. Man, you're a legend. Can I get a picture? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm thinking, this guy must confuse me. And he's like, Golden Boy, right? And I said, yeah. I take the picture. I walk away. And he knew I was Golden Boy. That's true. That part was true. But when he yelled at me, the name he thought I was, I turned around and I went, fuck you, cover. Yeah, he had the wrong name. But it was funny. Because I'm like, fuck you, cover. That's not me. But he confused me with somebody that's no longer there. And,
I know who it is.
and it was just like, are you serious?
Yeah, you know what? Hey, fuck him. You're not that old. You don't look that old. Come on now.
Right? Roberto, the Canelo Triple G fight. Second. I'm right there, and then all of a sudden, I'm still watching the fight, and fight's over, and as we're walking out, I remember a lot of celebrities were coming in, and as the fight is over, before it was over, I remember I stood up and somebody said, hey, coach, can we take a picture? Yeah. So I go take a picture and I'm moving closer. Hey, coach, can we take a picture? Yeah, come on. So I'm giving people, hey, come on, All of a sudden, up on top, some guy's like, hey, coach, can we take a picture? I go, sure. I remember I went up there just to please the guy. I get up on the rail, Roberto, and as secure as you can, I go, let me just take a picture with the guy. So I grabbed by the rail, and the guy like takes it. He goes, hey, thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. I go, oh, shit.
I thought you were Robert Diaz, cabrón. They thought you were Robert Diaz.
Yeah, I know. Hey, thank you, Robert. Hey, I was in Bakersfield for Tomás Delorme's fight. Before we walk into the arena, we're walking along with the teams, other fighters, And this guy's talking to me, man, hey, you're doing good. I like the way you're training. And then all of a sudden he's telling me, hey, fucking Robert, you're doing good. And then the guy goes, you don't know who he is? He goes, yeah, he's Robert Garcia. He goes, I go, yeah, I get that a lot. So keep walking, and the guy goes, I heard him from here. La cagaste, cabrón. That's not Robert. That's Joel Diaz. And then as he cut up to me, he goes, hey, I was just messing with you. He tried. So, he was embarrassed, but he wanted to like shake it out. Because his friend told him, he goes, la cagaste, cabrón. That's not Robert Garcia. That's Joel Diaz. And he goes,
that reminds me of we were in Chihuahua many years ago with Golden Boy. I think it was I want to say maybe an HBO Latino fight. Ponce de Leon was the main event. I had just started working for Golden Boy not too long ago. And we're in Chihuahua doing a show. And the ring announcers, they're very animated. They're very different. You know, this guy was very comical. Era un gordito. Like, he would dance Juan Gabriel music in between rounds or in between fights. And Juan Manuel Marquez was a commentator. It had not been too long that he had fought Barrera.
Mm-hmm.
So there was still that pique. And it was time to introduce Marquez in between. I think it was right before he went on TV. They were going to introduce him, bring out, and you could see the ring announcer. They told him, hey, Marquez is here. So Marquez stood up at the corner, and they told him, wait until he announces you and go in the ring. Señoras y señores, el gran campeón, el héroe, el ídolo, and Marquez is already stepping up, going up the steps. Con ustedes, el gran aplauso para Marco Antonio Barrera.
Yeah.
I laughed because I'm like, oh. But it was like Marquez, you could see that turn right before he stepped into the ring. And then everybody, hey, wait, la cagaste, it's Mark. This guy's already sweating because he dances, he turns, Juan Manuel Marquez. Marquez walked in the ring, but that was funny. So I know what that means.
Yeah. It was Mr. Boxing Guru, as Ace says, doing the El Juanga, El Noah. And thanks for everybody joining us. This is the Robert Diaz, Joel Diaz show. No. This is the Robert Garcia, the RGBA YouTube show. You can check them out on Sundays. He and Pita do a show on YouTube. This is the Diaz show. So for all you guys who get confused with Joel Diaz and Robert Garcia, hey, we're all there. But at the end of the day, it's all one big family. I love that everybody. People are like, oh, they're doing a show. Good for them. Everybody's having fun doing it. And that's the beauty of the sport of boxing, is the camaraderie. Where else are you going to have somebody who just left the ring go up to the stands to go and talk to you right now? So if you guys want to see the Robert Garcia boxing show, that's on Sundays on YouTube. He and Pita do a good job there. Let me see. What other questions do we have here? Oh, this one. Coach, when did you start using that narco vest that you got when you're inside the ring?
That's a good story. That's a good story to talk about, because a lot of people, people make fun of me in a way, but I mean, honestly, I don't give a shit. And you know what? It's very helpful. It's very helpful for me because I have a friend. I met a guy in Zacatecas. He owns the silver mines. He has mines over there. Like, he's digging mountains and stuff for silver, right? And one time, one of my friends went over there, and on the way back, he sent me a jacket, and they come with hoodies. And they have reflectors. And he goes, hey, his name is Mario Rodriguez. He goes, hey, Mario te mandó esto. Okay, so I saw that jacket, and I go, man, this is nice. I go, and right away I started thinking about it, but it has his logo right here on the left. So what I did is I put a patch of my logo on it, because it has a lot of pockets. So to me, it's perfect and the ideal jacket for a corner, because I have my Q-tips, my medicine, I have tape, I put my phone, everything is right here in my jacket. Like, as soon as the fight's over, I take off my jacket, I fold it, put it in my bag, and I don't need anything else, because I have everything in all those pockets. and it has a reflector. I have another one that has a hoodie, and I use it like when I go out running at night because it has nice reflectors, and that's why I use it. I gave one to Antonio. Antonio and I wear one. We put our logo on the back, and it's very essential for working fights because now I know where I have. Like if there's a cut, boom, I got the Q-tips, I got the medicine, I got the Vaseline, I got the tape. I know where everything is, and that's what the jacket. It's basically a miner's jacket. They use it for mining, but I'm using it to work corners.
Man, that's cool. That's cool. All kinds of.
Actually, there's people that have asked me, hey, can I get one? Alexis Rocha's cutting man. He says, what do I need to do to get one? I got you one. I called my friend. He brought me a brand new one. I gave him one. He goes, man, this is great. You put it on, and you have everything there. You know, I'm telling you. I take out my glasses. I put them in a pocket. My phone. The tape, the gauze, everything is in my jacket. So basically, I don't have to be carrying a bag or a bucket. The bucket is just for the waters, you know. And I have everything with me.
Now, how many things do you think you have in there? Well, how many items?
Well, I have tape, scissors, gloves, Q-tips, swabs. I have maybe 8 to 10 different things that I need for the corner.
All right, nice.
And Beto, I'm gonna tell you, because recently, obviously, going through old fights and everything, how important it is for Coach Joel to have everything at a reach, where he can easily access to it. You guys remember Mike Tyson against Buster Douglas in Tokyo?
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest upsets in boxing.
Yes,
Mike Tyson wasn't supposed to lose. Somebody forgot to tell Buster Douglas you're not supposed to win.
Yeah.
But as Buster Douglas is busting up Mike Tyson, the eye starts closing.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and watch that fight one day. They didn't have an inswell.
Yeah.
They were so confident that they didn't need all these things. Mike's gonna knock him out. They didn't have an inswell.
Whoa.
So when his eye's swollen, they had to blow up one of the
glove with ice.
One of the gloves with ice to put on him. But you can't. As much as cold as it can get, it's not the same as the metal, the plancha that they use that's frozen there, that's cold, and it's not strong enough where you can put the pressure to keep that swelling down.
Wow.
Because they weren't ready.
Wow.
Experience.
Look, talking stories.
Now Coach Joel knows and has everything he needs, or maybe things he won't even use. Hopefully he doesn't need to use them.
It's over prepare.
Look, talking stories like that, like Roberto says. Let's go back, Roberto. Fights happen. We are trainers. We are fans. Big fan of Lucas Matisse. And you remember because you made the call and you said, hey, Joel, Lucas Matisse wants to come and train over here. Can he use your facility? Yeah, he can train right there with us, no problem. When he fought Danny Garcia, everybody was so sure. His team was so sure because Lucas Matisse had the power, and and that's what happens. That's why I always tell my brother, I tell trainers are coming up, you gotta be prepared for the worst, the best, and the worst. You cannot just walk in a fight thinking the best. You can't, because shit can happen. Things can go wrong in any second. When Lucas Matisse trained for that Danny Garcia fight, I remember you were sending you sent Frankie Gomez,
Mauricio
Herrera. We had Jose Benavides. Even Tim Bradley came and helped. Everybody thought he was going to win. I see the team. I see his team, Lucas Matisse's team, like, oh yeah, he's going to win. And honestly, I thought he was going to win. But what happened when his eyes started getting swollen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I was so mad, Roberto, because nobody knew what to do. When his eyes started getting swollen and started getting closed, nobody knew what to do. And what happens is right there is when the panic starts and everything goes down. Because if the corner panics, the fighter panics because something's happening.
Yeah.
I've had Tim Bradley get swelling on his eye, second round, third round. By the 6th, 7th round, it's not swollen anymore. Diego de la Hoya, at one time, he told me, I remember they were making fun of me, even in Mexicali. They said they were going to put a statue of me in Mexicali because they're like, Diego's eye was getting shut. And as the round started going, I started bringing the swelling down. But you know what the thing is, like I said, people make fun of me. I mean, I get taken, hey, y ese pinche chaleco de malla, ¿qué onda? Okay, vas, you're going to go fishing or, but it's okay. I mean, it's all right. I only know what I use it for.
Yeah.
People say, hey, you're going to go fishing or y ese chaleco antibalas or, hey, I get those comments,
I like it when you don't wear a shirt underneath. I like that. When sleeveless, that's smooth right there.
Hey, if I do that, my wife gets mad. So I'm not allowed to wear it without a shirt under. So the thing is this, Roberto. When I was working, Diego's swelling started bringing down. And you know what? One of the things is this. I learned this from Chuck Bodak, and I still have it. Chuck Bodak gave me one of those nacho dip containers, and I still have it. Chuck Bodak at one point I said, hey, why do you use this? This is for like when you get your nacho dip, like cheese and stuff. He says, let me tell you something. Aluminum holds the cold longer than metal. Metal, you put it in ice, and as soon as you touch your skin, your body temperature brings the temperature down on metal. On aluminum, no, it's longer. Those nacho dip containers, they're aluminum. What I do is I fill it up with ice and I compress it. Boom, I hit it on the floor or whatever, and it becomes one block of ice. And I put the cover on it, and you can see it says Fritos on it. And sometimes people make fun of me. But you know what? That is the best tool for swelling. Kids in the Boys and Girls Club, they come with swellings on their face. What I do is I'll grab an aluminum can, put ice, and bring the swelling down. Only I know, I mean, there's a lot of things that you got to know the tricks of the trade. And Chuck Bodak, rest in peace, gave me something, and I still keep it, and I still follow it. If I was to lose it, I'll get another one. But I try to conserve it. There's times in which I go to a fight, like, hey, where's my inswell? And I grab the inswell. I never use the metal ones. I never use metal inswells. I always use the aluminum ones. Abraham Lopez's father, at one time, he brought a tube that he made in a welding shop, just made out of aluminum. And I've been trying to get a hold of one of those because it's just aluminum, and you compress it with ice, and it's really, really cold. That, for swelling, is the best. But that's the story on my jacket, and that's my story on my insole.
You walk into the ring for a championship fight with a can of nacho dip.
Yes, sir. And
that's fantastic.
It has saved a lot of fights. I'm telling you, I worked with so many fights.
Awesome.
And watch some of the fights. I'll grab the nacho dip, and you can see that I'm rubbing it on the swelling. And sometimes you can see the logo. It says Fritos on it.
You know what? Fritos should be paying Coach. Fritos should be paying Coach.
Exactly.
That's a sponsorship right there. What he's not telling you is in one of the pockets, there's actually nachos too.
Snack in the corner.
Hey, because in case Toño gets hungry, because Toño's hungry now.
Toño's always hungry.
Yeah. This one, Marco Favela has a good question. He said, Coach, can you hear what the other corner is saying during a fight? And now with the pandemic and like you were in the bubble, it's empty. Do you hear that also?
Of course. And I don't know if you guys watched my fight, the last fight I had at the MGM. I got called a lot on that because I trained this kid from Kazakhstan, right? And working with all these Uzbeks, Russians, Antonio and I, we get whatever we need to guide the fighters in the corner in their language. So our job is to learn their language based on what was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And that day, Bobby John Mominov fought that night, and I'm listening to the corner on the opposite side, and I'm talking to my fighter, but I'm not talking to him in English. I'm guiding him in his language.
I heard you.
Okay, so that's why, because it always helps when you hear the opposite corner telling his fighter what to do. I mean, it's like, hey, tell this guy what that guy is saying over there. And it helps. It's like, if they listen to what I'm saying, they're telling the fighter, hey, he's telling them to do this, be ready. So it was good for me to guide my fighter in his language where they don't understand.
Yeah, because I heard you because remember Roberto, you had a Slava Shabransky, and he was from the Ukraine, and Estrellita and Manny Robles were training him, and I'm working to fight. I'm like, wait, how are these two Mexican dudes? What are they doing? What are they saying? And they were saying Rabotai, just a couple of a couple of words in Russian, and it made sense where. Boxing is an international language, but if you learn a couple words, and I'm watching that show, Coach, and I hear you saying "Cagdila, Rabota," I'm like, wait a minute.
Rabota, divide, like you tell them like Preva is right, Lebus Bokus, left hook, Pechin, like bully. The bully, as soon as we tell bully Pechin, that means he's going to the liver, and we guy like Rasbois is like 1-2, Preva is right. Pireño's Boku is like uppercut hook, and you guiding them and work is arabota, and come on, davai. So we're guiding these guys in their language, telling them what to do so they understand, and the other guys don't understand.
That's very beneficial, and that's an extra tool you have to give you the benefit. Jorge Linares, who at an early age went to Japan to live, picked up Japanese. And his trainer at the time was Sendai Tanaka, Japanese. So here you had a Latino fighting. Most of the time, he's going to fight a Latino. He's going to fight a Mexican in those weight divisions. So now if you're telling Jorge in Spanish, tira el jab, tira el gancho, tira, the opponent's hearing it, the other corner's hearing it, like Joel said. But if they're telling them in Japanese, 9 out of 10 times, that opponent's not going to know what's happening, because I don't think Jorge, he's only fought one Japanese, I think, in his whole career that I remember. And that was a fight he had in Vegas against a tough Japanese kid, the one that Omar fought in San Antonio for the title.
Yeah.
And that day they didn't talk to him in Japanese. It was Ismael Salas telling them in Spanish. So you always try to get that upper hand in whatever way you can. Now Jorge speaks Spanish, Japanese, and English.
Pendejadas.
Oh, that's a nice.
Pendejadas.
See, those are the things that are they're very helpful to us. For example, Joseph Aguirre. Joseph Aguirre is a kid that was born in the U.S., but he lived all his life in Cancun. He speaks both languages. Pepe Gomez tells me, hey, he's going to fight in Cancun. We go to Cancun. And most of the time, he fights a Mexican. So when we're out there, I speak to him in English, so that the opposite corner doesn't know what I'm saying. The only time that I feel like, man, Vicente Escobedo fights in Mexico City. You send us out there. I think it was his only time he fought in Mexico City, Vicente Escobedo. And we're out there, and then we go to the arena. They presented Vicente Escobedo as a U.S. Olympian. Everybody like, oh, shit. And they presented the opponent from Sinaloa, and everybody, yeah. So I'm like, okay, we have a problem here. We had 4 chairs in the corner, Robert. It was a private event where, people have their tables, everybody's drinking. So as the fight starts, Roberto, I start speaking in English to Vicente. And on the back, you could hear the comments, shut the hell up, cállate. So now at that moment, I don't know to speak English or Spanish anymore. I'm telling you, people in Mexico are cool, man. I'm telling you. People in Mexico, the boxing fans, and they're trying to get on they want to get under your skin.
And those are the women.
And and the worst thing is, if you retaliate, man, it's worse.
They'll wait for you outside.
No, we got 4 chairs in the corner like you always do, right? And then the bell rings. I'm speaking English to Vicente, and these guys on the back, they're talking really bad about us, right? We go up in the ring. Bell rings. We come back. We only have 3 chairs. Okay? These guys take a chair. Second round, boom. Bell rings. We go up there. We come back. There's 2 chairs. By the 4th round, we didn't have no chairs. And Vicente's brother was mad, trying to fight with the guys in the back. Hey, relax. Ya cálmate. Don't do it. aquí no vas a ganar. Just relax. So we're kneeling down, just looking at the fight. And then people in the back still talking like, hey, it's over. But that's the thing. That's like the only time where, trying to use a different language, it makes backfired. But it's bad.
They're passionate and they're crazy.
Yeah. When Masa Ortiz fought in Cancun, and it was my first fight with Masa. I remember Masa was the idol in Mexico. When we got there, so Masa was like, and then he fought a guy. I remember they called him Piolín or something like that. Pero the fight started and everything. Masa. First round, Masa's winning. Come on, Masa. Toda la gente se paraba. Masa. In the 5th round, Masa slowed down and the other guy is putting pressure. So now everybody's rooting for the other guy. And I'm like, what happened here? I'm telling you, Roberto, hey, 1 minute, things can change. And in a couple seconds, they're on your side. All of a sudden, things switch. And I said, wow, this is crazy. For the first 5 rounds, everything was Masa, everybody getting up. As soon as Masa started slowing down, the other guys started coming forward. Now, the other guy was a favorite.
Remember, the fans always want to be on the winning team.
Yeah. They're bandwagon.
Regardless of who they walk in with, they want to walk out with the winner.
Yeah. Remember the fight with Vicente Escobedo and Dominic Sacito?
Oh my goodness! How can I forget that one?
Roberto, when Dominic walked in the ring with his checker hair, red and black, and everybody, and people were like boo, boo. But when he started winning, he was winning the fight. Everybody was like, yeah. If that kid would have won that fight that night, Roberto, he would have been a superstar.
He had a lot of potential. I mean, this kid was fast. When I first met him, and he asked me to manage him and work with him, and I was like, okay, yeah. I saw a little bit of Jorge Linares. There was tremendous speed, beautiful footwork. He did something when he was comfortable and in moving that it was a little bit of Bruce Lee.
Fast.
But he took it a little bit. That fight, I think if I remember, I had already started at Golden Boy. I told him I'm not going to be able to manage you anymore, but I'm going to get you a big fight that if you win, and I had already talked to Alex Camponovo, Thompson, Golden Boy is going to co-promote. And we did the Vicente Escobedo fight. Vicente was an Olympian, undefeated.
Yep. At that time, Vicente was 18-1.
Oh yeah. He had lost to Jimenez.
Yeah, Dominic was 16-0. And that was 2008 on Telefutura. That means you had Bernardo Zuna, Ricardo Celis, the matchmaker Eric Gomez at Morongo.
Yep. Well, Dominic made little bobblehead.
Oh,
he had they had made what was it? Ernesto had made all these bobbleheads. And
I have one right here.
Really? Little checkered, the haircut. They had the little checkered, the bobblehead, and they were. I think there was little postcards they gave out that said 17-0. Like, we already won. Starts fighting, and again, you see that beautiful movement. On the other hand, you had the Golden Boy fighter. Vicente Escobedo, Nacho Beristain, I think, was in his corner.
Yeah, Nacho was in his corner.
Right?
Yeah. And Jaime was there. Jaime Quintana was there too.
Dominic starts dominating, and he's actually looking good. And like Joel says, I mean, he's close to home. So right away, people didn't like him because he was too flashy and too flamboyant. Vicente was more quiet and he was an Olympian. I remember sitting there going, wow, this is a good match, and that was part of it. Eric Gomez was the matchmaker, but I had said, hey, I think this is a good fight. We should do it. Yep. I remember, I think 1 round before the end, Dominic had a very good exchange. I remember he got hit hard, but los coscorrones. Mm-hmm. He went to Vicente like, oh, you want to play? And he started with coscorrones, like goofing off. I mean, it was a fun fight. He goes back to the corner, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach. You said, get on the phone, keep the hands up.
Hold the phone.
Like, keep your hands up. Don't worry, coach. I got this. I got this. And that was dominant. Obviously, you're undefeated. You're confident. You've never been beat. I got this. Next round, I'm knocking him out. And he went out there and started payaseando legs, the Bruce Lee type movement. And Vicente hits him with a left hook, I think. And Dominic. And then gets him again. That highlight of the knockout was like one of Telefutura's main highlights of like an exciting fight, but an exciting finish. And he knocked him out. He knocked him out bad.
6-round knockout that night.
Yeah, he was dominating the fight completely from the beginning.
And then the brother actually one day told me, "Hey, that bobblehead, he did the same thing in the fight, huh?"
No, he was dominating the whole fight, Beto. He was dominating the fight to the point where he comes to the corner and I slap him. I go, "Stop messing around. Dominic, stop playing around." He heard him. Before the end of the 4th round, he heard Vicente. And I would hear Nacho Beristain say, El Cruzado. And I go, and I tell him, though Nacho is telling him to throw the left hook, dude, you're going to get caught. Keep your right hand up. Hold the phone. And then he looks at me like this. He goes, yow, coach. Yow, relax. He goes, I got this. I'll knock him out in the next round. And I'll never forget. Behind me, it was Roberto and Eric. Roberto Diaz and Eric Gomez sitting behind me. So I turn around and I go, "Hey, Roberto, it'll be over in the next round." And it was over in the next round.
But I thought he meant we're winning the next round. So I'm like, hey, my first fight where I'm bringing somebody else out, hey, and Vicente was, I know for a fact that, Eric had been very close to, he had signed Vicente, he was an Olympian. A lot of talk about, the next De La Hoya back then because he was an Olympian and Mexican-American and, but it didn't work out for Salcido.
But he told me, he goes, "Hey, coach, relax. It'll be over in the next round."
Yeah.
But he never told me how it was going to be over. That's the thing. If he would have warned me, I would have told you, but he never warned me. He just told me, coach.
Vicente Escobedo, 2004 Olympian in Athens from Sacramento. Dominic Salcido, for those you don't know, was a kid. I would watch those Telefutura fights because he'd come out every single time. He would have leopard hair print. He would have red and black, look like a checkerboard. Now, coach, he gets knocked out after telling you it's going to be over next round, playing around. What do you talk to him? What's that conversation like afterwards?
Well, the thing is, there's really not much you can say because the only thing you have to do is comfort the kid because his mentality was he had a world champion mentality. To him, he was already a world champion. And I would tell him, dude, you're not a world champion until you are a world champion. So you have to always, you always present yourself as it is. And after that fight, I told him, hey, I always tell my fighters, even in the gym today, I tell a kid, hey, you're dropping your right hand. You get hit with the left hook a lot. And the last thing I want to say to you is, I told you. Because every day I'm reminding you, keep the right hand up. You're getting hit with the left hook. And, dude, when it comes to fights, and you get knocked out by a left hook, the last thing I want to tell you is, I told you. And that night, I'm going to tell you what happened with Dominic Salcido. We trained really hard for the fight. It was one of the greatest camps. The reason why he got up, because he was in such great shape. I remember when Vicente Escobedo caught him with a left hook, he went straight back. Like on his back, his head hit the canvas and he bounced up. When his head hit the canvas, he woke up. He was asleep going down. When he hit the canvas, he woke up.
Jeez.
And he woke up again. And what he did was he got up. He got up right away, and his reaction was to fight again. And that was his worst mistake.
Jeez.
He should have held on, take a knee, but he was in such a great shape that his condition, like he wanted to fight, and he wasn't 100%, or he wasn't even 50%. So that's when Vicente went and stopped him. But
and finished it. He finished it. I mean, the kid had been in camp with Ricky Hatton.
Wow.
The kid had been in camp with Juan Diaz. I think it was after the loss that he went in camp with these guys because Ricky was going to fight Paulie and Juan Diaz was going to fight Paulie. This was before Paulie was with Golden Boy. So it was fights that, Ricky was with Golden Boy. Hey, Dominic's very similar. Go help them. And he did good in those camps. He did really good in those camps. But, great kid, great family. But it was just, after that, I think his confidence left him. And I think he was knocked out one time right after at a Thompson show. I still talk to him every once in a while, reach out. He fought Omar Figueroa, no?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, in New Jersey.
Yeah, and he went the distance with Omar.
Yeah.
So it was, his sister, I think, had been a very, very good pro, but retired early or something.
See, after the fight with Vicente Escobedo, he wanted to commit suicide.
No.
Yeah, because he thought he would never lose a fight. He thought he was unbeatable. After that fight, he used to have a small car, one of those speed cars, and he was drinking one day. He was going through depression because of the loss. That he just decided to go straight into a pole.
Oh,
yeah, I remember.
Speed. He ended up in Loma Linda. He wanted to take his own life. I
remember that.
Yeah. So we went to visit him, and after that, he recovered from that accident, and then he started going to church, started going to see a priest, and that's when he started going. He went to help Juan Diaz after that fight. I think he fought one more fight and he won. But then after that, after his, because I remember Alex Camponovo got him a fight to get back on the road, build his confidence up, and then after that, he got him a fight where I wasn't really happy about how everything went, because we're training for a fight, and they tell us you're gonna fight Elisier Julio. That guy used to fight at 112, 118. And he fought him at 135. And when we got ready for the fight, we go to the weigh-ins. And after the weigh-ins, he disappears on me. And he went to a quinceañera practice. Or a rehearsal. I said, dude, you're here to fight. And the next morning, I go to his room and, Coach, okay. So before the fight, before we went to the venue for the fight, he calls me and he goes, hey, Coach, can I talk to you? Sure. So I go to his dressing room and he tells me, hey, Coach, I wanted to talk to you about the fight plan. When he tells me that, I go, wait. You have a plan? I'm the coach. Yeah, Coach, but you know me. And the way he was talking, like, yo, you know me, Coach. All my people are going to come and watch me fight. All my family's going to be here. Just let me do my thing. I go, what do you mean let me do my thing? I said, look, this guy right here that you're fighting, he's not supposed to be in the ring with you. This guy used to fight at 118. He's small. I go, 1 round, 2 rounds, we're out of there. He goes, come on, Coach, let me do my thing. You know me, I like to dance around, look good, 4 rounds. And then after 4 rounds, I'm going to take him to deep waters. I go, Dominic, I'm not expecting to go 4 rounds with this guy. Come on, Coach, let me just get in there. Okay, long story short, we go in the ring. The first round, he's dancing around the ring. He's not fighting. He's dancing, looking pretty. Second round, the referee comes to the corner and says, come on, guys, you got to fight. People are yelling at him like, hey, this is not Dancing with the Stars. People are getting frustrated. Third round, fourth round, and he's not doing anything. Going into the fifth round, he switches lefty, and he's like measuring the guy, clowning with him. And all of a sudden, I'm mad already. I go, hey, come on, Dominic, let's get to work. So as he's southpaw, he switches right-hander, and he bangs on his gloves like, oh, I'm going to take this guy out. Elisier Julio I remember, Roberto, I don't know if he just closed his eyes, but he just went like, boom, and caught him, knocked him out.
Oh!
Left him asleep. His eyes were up here in his brain.
Oh!
And then his family jumped in the ring, trying to beat up the guy. It was a big drama, right? So
I get called by Joel.
We go to the hospital.
Yeah.
He went to the hospital?
Yeah, they took him on a stretcher. We go to the hospital, and everybody in the waiting area, like, they're blaming people. One of the things that the reason why he lost was because he didn't get enough mitts.
Oh, they're blaming you?
They're blaming everybody. Another one because he didn't get enough sparring. Remember, he had just came from helping Juan Diaz. He was sparring Juan Diaz for the camp, and then he comes back, and some of his family like, well, he lost because he didn't get enough mid work. I was working mids with him. No. But he wanted mids like his former coach in Big Bear, like Mayweather style mids. Okay. And I got mad. So I said, you know what? Don't blame anybody. Blame me. I'll take the blame.
Why did you do that?
Don't point fingers on anybody. I was mad.
But why'd you do that?
Because I just wanted everybody to stop.
Because that's excuses. They're just looking at it. Nobody saw that he was clowning. They only saw it must have been somebody else's fault. And you know what? You got to take at one point, okay, he got caught and he was clowning. But one thing that I'll never forget, Joel called me. I had been his manager. I wasn't his manager anymore, but I got real close to the kid. I mean, I really liked him. I told Joel, hey, can you help me? Can you train him? Did a great job. So for that, I didn't know about, his old coach used to admit it. Joel had been with him already multiple fights. It wasn't the first fight. But I remember Joel telling me, hey, we're in the hospital and Dominic got knocked out. I'm like, what? What happened? How did he get knocked out by 112 pound or 115 pound? He got knocked out. He was clowning. Is he okay? Yeah, he's okay. They just brought him from observation. But I'll never forget this. After I told him I couldn't manage him, he got a new manager. And I was told later that when he was being put on the stretcher to take out, the manager, obviously Alex Camponovo, as the promoter, was there making sure he was okay. Joel, everybody's there. And the manager says, when's his next fight?
Shocked.
Yeah.
Bro, forget about the next fight. Make sure he's going to make it out. I mean, come on. Yeah, because the problem is inactivity. He just needs to be active. They're taking him out on a stretcher, and you're asking when's the next fight? There's a time for everything. Yeah. That wasn't the right time.
Wow. We go to the hospital, and we're in a waiting room, and the mom, the uncle, the dad, the sister, everybody, the cousin, everybody's talking like, oh, well, it was because of this. It was because of that. So it got to a point where I got mad. I said, hey, please, everybody just keep it down. I don't want nobody to point fingers on anybody. Blame me. It was my fault. They were like, why? I go, it was my fault. Just leave it as this. So then what I did, the reason why I did is this. I don't want nobody to be blaming anybody. I wanted everybody to say, okay, it was coach's fault. Because after he recovered, we were going to meet with him and talk to him. So, yeah, a week later, Jose Castillo called me. Hey, we need to sit down and have a meeting. So I drive over there. We go to this restaurant. He comes, and he's all embarrassed. And then we start talking. And I said, okay, that night, everybody's obviously upset. Everybody's pointing fingers. Dominic, I want you to tell everybody here whose fault was it. It's my fault. I took the blame. Whatever happened that night is my fault. I go, but I want you to tell everybody here whose fault is it. Okay, as a man. Be a man right here and tell everybody whose fault is it. I took the blame because they're blaming a lot of people, and I don't think it's fair. I took it the night. And he goes, that was my fault. It was my fault. I didn't take this guy serious. I wanted to joke around. I wanted to do I go, did you tell me before the fight that you wanted to do your thing? You wanted to look good and dance around the ring? Because you were, yeah, okay. So here you go. Everybody, the whole family, the dad, the uncle, everybody. This is what happened. Those are the things that you guys don't know that happen behind the scenes. You guys like to just point fingers and criticize after a fight. That's not right. I've taken a lot of blames for situations similar to this. But why? Because I know the situation. As a trainer, sometimes you have to step up and say, hey, you know what? That's not the way it goes. I take the blame. But later on, after this is over, we'll sit down and we'll talk about it, and see what happens.
Wow, there's so many different stories that you always hear. That's what you hear on ThursDIAZ. Thanks to everybody who listens on the iTunes, on Spotify, who go back. And if you've ever missed an episode, we started doing this in March. Go on my YouTube, Beto Duran, and you can catch up on every single episode. We do it every single Thursday, and we hang out with Beto Duran, Joel Diaz, Roberto Diaz, Golden Boy Matchmaker. Good questions coming in. And one of my favorite follows is my lawyer, Curtis Gold. So if you ever need a lawyer, he is watching right now. The white boy, Curtis Gold, who went to UCLA, lives in the Hollywood Hills. And last week on his Instagram, he posted that he's on the Hollywood Hills at his pool, $1 million home, and he has ThursDIAZ on in the speakers listening. Roberto, he is fancy. You and he would get along great, Roberto, because he's a fan.
That is awesome, man. Yeah. That is awesome.
So Curtis Gold, he's white, but a Jewish guy, but he really feels deep down he's Mexican. And he has this
Shout out to Curtis. Shout out, man. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the love.
Yeah, he knows. So he listens. So Curtis right now has this question for you, Coach. What's the worst question an announcer / reporter, Beto, has ever asked you or your fighter? Because we've been in some of these fighter meetings, and not me, but there's some times where you get asked some dumb questions. What's one of the worst ones, without saying any names?
No, well, I mean, I've never had any bad questions. I've had so many questions when Bradley fought Marquez that annoyed me. You know, when remember, Juan Manuel Marquez has just knocked out Pacquiao. And all of a sudden, after that fight, after Marquez knocks out Manny Pacquiao, then Bradley's coming in. And we're fighting Marquez. Marquez is the fighter of the moment. So as we arrive in Vegas, every single reporter, they're asking me, so what do you think, how do you think Bradley's going to do with Marquez? And it was annoying for me because deep inside my heart, I'm telling you, I knew we were going to win the fight because we had a great plan of attack. And I would tell them, we're going to win. And I could see it in their face just by the reaction that they were like, yeah, right. Okay, then don't ask me. Don't ask me. Yeah, it would annoy me because, I mean, I told one reporter one time, he says, okay, so based on Marcus's last performance, how do you think Bradley's going to do? And I'm like, well, you're asking me if he's going to win, right? I'm telling you he is. But if I tell you he is, as soon as you walk away, you're going to probably say that I'm crazy because he just knocked out Manny Pacquiao. But just wait till the fight is over. After the fight, I ran into him and I said, hey, was I right or was I wrong? We won the fight. And yeah, coach, yeah. But I mean, those are the only times where questions bother me because of the insecurity of that fight. People thought that, you know, after Marquez knocked out Pacquiao the way he knocked him out, Bradley was just like a stepping stone that he was going to walk straight through. And I'm telling you, and I would tell you in front of Alex Caponovo, I mean, that night in the dressing room, I got pumped up because Alex asked me, you think we have a chance? And it bothered me. It bothered me because we're there in the dressing room and I'm warming them up. And I go, what do you mean? I go, we want to win. I said, we're going to win. And I start pumping up Bradley. I go, hey, Bradley. And then I start getting pumped up. And I start motivating. And I look at Bradley. I go, come here. I go, remember, tonight is your night. I said, 95% of the people in this whole arena think you're going to lose. 5% of the people that think you're going to win is just your family and me. That's it. I go, but 95% of the entire arena think you're going to lose tonight. You're going to win tonight. He goes, yeah. Okay, just listen to me. I remember going into the ring and I'm telling them what to do because it's very common sense. Marquez knocks out Pacquiao with a straight right, so he's walking in with that mentality that I'm going to use the same right. So we executed the right hand. The first round, Bradley gets in there and he starts filling them out. And he comes to the corner and I said, talk to me. Because I like to, ask my fighters questions. Talk to me. And he's like, coach, he's strong. And then I said, okay, I want you to do this. He goes, no. Because if I do that, he wants to catch me with the uppercut. I go, okay, let's switch it up on him. And we kept going. And that's one of the fights, after the fight, when Bradley says, when I do what you tell me, everything goes well. When I go on my own, I get into problems. And that whole weekend of Bradley Marquez, I had some of the stupidest questions that I had to deal with other reporters. And,
it's true. It's true because, first of all, a lot of the questions are you ready?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not.
A lot of the questions, are you ready? So, no, I'm not ready. I mean, is that what you want me to tell you? So what fighter is going to get there? It's fight week.
Yeah.
It's too late to not be ready. So, what are you supposed to say? No. And to have that confidence, you're supposed to go in there with that confidence. Yeah. You're not supposed to go in there, well, I'm just here to lose tonight and put on the best show. Everybody has to be given at least that moment of, you can do this, because that's the beauty of boxing.
Yeah.
On any given night, anything can happen. And it goes back, we mentioned earlier, Buster Douglas. Buster Douglas, I think we talked about it the other day. He should have pulled out of the fight. His mom had died a couple weeks before. He had all the reasons to say, you know what, I'm pulling out.
Yeah.
That motivated him. That's what makes a fighter different than any other sport. They're cut with a different pair of scissors. They're cut with something different. I mean, it's special to be a fighter, because I'll tell you, Bradley Marquez, I made a lot of money. I bet on Bradley.
Really?
I bet on Bradley. I didn't fall for the Marquez thing. I said, physically, this guy's bigger, younger, stronger, awkward. He trains like an animal. The condition's going to be – I mean, I believed he was going to win. And when he got the decision, I was very happy.
It was just a matter of, remember, Juan Manuel Marquez is a counterpuncher. And we trained to counter a counterpuncher, We knew that Marquez is really good with his counters. He's a great counterpuncher. And all you have to do to beat him is counter him back. And Bradley did. And in the 11th round, I think when Bradley dropped him, Bradley just turned around and he celebrated on the 12th round when he should have just went for it. But, I said, hey, the fight's in the pocket. But in reality, I mean, it was just a great strategy. I came to Vegas that weekend with all the confidence in the world that we were going to win, because I had a great plan for Marquez.
That's awesome.
And then Julio, my brother Julio was training, was getting ready for Amir Khan at the same time, and they were sparring together. And Julio was really smart. Julio was really was in great shape. In the last sparring sessions, Julio sparred Bradley. And Julio would always tell me, hey, I'll take care of him, because everybody that comes and spars Bradley, they always want to prove a point. Even in the clinches, they wrestle and they're going to hurt his elbow. Let me help you. So Julio was getting ready for Amir Khan. Bradley was getting ready for Marquez. So then they're both in great shape. They're closing camp within a week or two. So I have Julio sparring Bradley, and Julio tells me, hey, if Bradley fights the way he's sparring, he's going to beat Marquez. He goes, just tell him to. And Julio gave me that extra boost of confidence where, hey, he's on point. I can't even touch him. He's smart. And before, Julio would put Bradley here and there, however he wanted. And in the last two sparring sessions, Julio couldn't really do much to Bradley because Bradley was on point. That's when Julio told me, hey, if he fights the way he sparred, he will beat Marquez, no problem. That's why I have so much confidence.
That's awesome. When you just go and you execute the game plan of what it is. And man, how long have we been doing this show? Yeah, we've been doing it for an hour and 38 minutes. Wow. This doesn't even feel like it. We just la plática, the stories, it just keeps on going.
Wow. Beto, I want to do a little shout out for one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. Just left the hospital, is back home with his family. We talked about it last week. Roberto Manos de Piedra knocked out COVID. Blessings for him. And now send a message out to El Feroz Vargas, who recently tested positive. Hey, Fernando, all the love, blessings. Let's knock this out too, brother. You can do it.
Yeah, Antonio showed me today that Fernando Vargas posted something saying, that he was tested positive. Hey, stay positive. God bless you, Fernando. Un saludo desde aquí.
Yeah,
esperemos en Dios que todo salga bien, te recuperes y que toda la familia esté bien.
And also to Henry Ramirez out in Riverside. We see him.
That's right. That's right.
He posted today. Because I follow him on his Instagram. He kept talking about him being sick. And I think he thought he had the flu. He went and got tested, and he said he's got a couple more days in quarantine. So Henry Ramirez, and it's just crazy what everybody's going through right now.
So it's a message to everybody. It's not over. It's not done. We're not in the decision yet. We're not even in the 12th round. Stay, use your masks, use precautions, use social distance. It's still there, guys, and it's serious.
Yeah, just stay home and watch ThursDIAZ. That's it. That's it. It's Coach, what do you have coming up on your schedule?
Well, I have Tomás Dulorme fighting July 25th against Jamal James. And then I have August 15th, I have Shakram Giasov fighting in Oklahoma, I think. He's fighting Paquito Rojo. And then after that, we have Beck, the bully, fighting hopefully in August.
Oh, Beck is back. Okay, I saw. Okay.
Guess who's back?
So people were asking me, who is this guy? His name is Beck. B-E-K. So it's B-E...
Bektamir.
Bektamir. So if you start typing in B-E-K on Instagram, his name will come up because he has like 200,000 followers. He is back. Okay. I guess we're going to keep on the show because Roberto just poured another glass of Macallan 18. So, let me go make a drink too. Well, why don't you guys go get a drink too? Why don't you guys get some more questions? I'm going to get some ice. I'm going to get tequila squirt.
Sin querer queriendo, I had to open it.
Nice. Mira, ya le metió un golpezazo. He already chucked it down a little bit there.
Roberto, I mean, you can see the difference in this one, but you cannot see the difference on the 3 liters over there.
No baja. Nos está fichando otra vez.
Yeah, you know what? I was supposed to go somewhere. I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna go Pepe Gomez pretend smoke.
You got 3 gallons of Don Ramon.
We were talking last week about the sacrifices. I just want to bring this out, a shout out to a good friend, manager, trainer, Hector Lopez.
Hey!
From OC, trains and manages Alexis Rocha and Ronnie Rios.
He's crying because Tom Brady left. It's okay.
Tom Brady, but he got a big reinforcement. I don't know if I like it.
Huh?
But you know what? No Patriots. Niners here. He was telling me, we were talking about the sacrifices that trainers do, the dedication that they do. And we were talking, and he told me this, and I couldn't believe it. You know how we talked that Joel had a birthday party last week or something that you couldn't attend?
I've missed birthday parties. Yeah. My daughter's birthdays, I missed a few. I mean, my parents. I mean, there's special events, family events that we miss due to the fact that we're trainers and we have to leave. Especially trainers like Antonio, amateur trainers. That Antonio is now part of my team as training professional fighters, but Antonio dedicates most of his time dedicating amateur fighters. And when there's tournaments, shows, every weekend he has to be on the road, and he has sacrificed a lot of family time, and a lot of people don't appreciate that, and they don't see it because I mean they're just like, hey, whatever. But I mean, we do. Remember, we have families. We have a wife. We have kids, and all that time that we spend with the kids on the road on the weekends, it could be family time.
So Hector was telling me the day his firstborn was his wife was gonna give birth. Luis Ramos, who was one of his fighters that we had signed, this is before we signed him, he was preparing for the Nationals, and he had sparring scheduled. So the baby was born. He was at the hospital, but then he walked up to his wife and gave her a look like, and his wife said, "Please come back after sparring." He ran back to the gym. Got Luis prepared for that night, sparred him that night, this and that, and then had to go back to the hospital. But those are the kind of things that are very unique. You don't have the backup coach. You don't have, or maybe you do, but as that main coach, this is a very important moment. Nobody would have said anything bad if he says, "Hey, Luis, I can't be there today. My firstborn is going to be born. I got to be at the hospital." And probably Luis and everybody would have been okay. But that's the dedication of how people like Joel, Hector, Garcia, Robert Garcia, all these trainers around the world are so dedicated to their fighters. The baby was born, he rushes to the gym, does the training, and then rushes back to the hospital. I mean, shout out to Hector, man. That's love and dedication.
Yeah, Roberto. One time, my wife was allergic to certain fruits, right? And one day, my wife starts. I don't know. She ate something that she was allergic to. We're at home. We're here, and then I see her face started getting swollen. Her eyes, her throat starts closing up. She can't breathe. So her face starts getting like really bad. So I rush her to the hospital. We're in the hospital, and they said, "Well, she's allergic to something." And I was there. I had to go to the gym. I had important sparring. I don't remember if it was Omar Figueroa getting ready for a fight, somebody. But I'm in the hospital, and they give her some medication. We're there for a while. As soon as they said, "Okay, she's okay now, take a medication," I drop her off at the house, and I go to the gym.
Wow.
And they're like, and then I told Antonio, like, "Hey, isn't your wife?" I go, "Yeah, but I have to be here." I mean, those are the things that a lot of people don't see.
A lot of people don't get that.
I mean,
a lot of people don't get that.
My wife is home. She's sick. I mean, her face is swollen. Her throat. I mean, she can't breathe because of the allergy that she got. And I'm at the gym training the guys. I mean, when I could be here, making sure she's okay. But I mean, we've made so many sacrifices in every way. Like I said, we have mother birthdays, father birthdays, kids' birthdays, anniversaries. I mean, I miss so many anniversaries, due to my job. And the good thing is that they understand because they know it's part of my job. And but at the same time, some people don't appreciate that because they say like whatever, they think about themselves, but they don't think about where everything comes from. I've seen Antonio. Antonio, like sometimes he has to miss his kid's birthday, graduation, or whatnot. But it is a big sacrifice. Our job is tough. Sometimes we have to go for days, and we have to be away from the family. I'm telling you, when I was in New Jersey in Thanksgiving, I see everybody's stories. I mean, it's sad. I mean, sometimes you feel like crying because those are family moments where you look. I mean, nowadays technology, you watch Snapchat, you watch Instagram, and everybody's stories. Everybody's sitting around the table. Everybody with the family, mom, dad, kids, and everybody.
But they're just doing it for the picture. That's it. Then afterwards, they all go away and get on their phone.
Exactly. But yeah, they do it for the picture. But they're all there.
Yeah.
And I'm in New Jersey by myself when there's nothing. I mean, I'm in New Jersey by myself. Like, what am I gonna do? Good thing that my son flies in, and him and I go and we have a dinner at a restaurant. Him and I, like, okay, at least my son and I together. We just call my wife, FaceTime her, and we're good. But those are the sacrifices that people don't see.
Yeah, those are sacrifices that the fighters, the coaches, the trainers, everybody in boxing have to do. I mean, it is, when they say you live, dream, eat, everything boxing, that's the proof right there.
Yeah, it's it's what you guys have
Beto,
to do. Monday.
We go to England for the American Julio Diaz fight. Fight's over. We're in a hurry to go to the airport. We get to the airport and we run into one of our friends. He's sitting at a bar eating caviar. That was a great story.
Caviar.
What happened, Roberto? You know what? That was the first time in my life I've ever tasted caviar.
Wait, what's caviar? I don't know.
I thought it was frijoles, but it's not.
They look like lentils. They look like lentejas.
They look like lentils. Watch, we're in a hurry trying to get to our gate, and all of a sudden, in that airport, there is like an island, like a bar, okay. And then as we're walking by, Antonio, me, and the rest of the team, we see Roberto Diaz sitting in the bar, and he goes, "Hey guys, how you doing?" Hey. Oh well, he says, "Every time I come to England, I sit here." Really? Come on, join us. Join me. So we sit next to him, and then he's like, excuse me, can you give me 3 more ounces of caviar? Like, okay. They get that thing and they weigh it and they give it to him. He's teaching us how to put caviar on crackers and butter and whatnot. Wow. He goes, this is where I stop every time I come.
I love that airport in London.
Heathrow
Airport is huge.
Big.
There's all the stores, like if you're at one of the biggest malls. And that little island it's called the Prunier House. And yeah. I love it. I mean, I love it. There's smoked fish, champagne, caviar. So obviously, before I jump on the plane, let me get a little champagne and have a little caviar. Let me have a little buzz so I can get on the plane. It's going to be a long flight, and I want to go to sleep. And here comes Team Diaz, Julio, Antonio, Joel. And you know what? Julio came this close. I mean, he dropped Amir. He did a very good fight. And this was in Sheffield, Amir's hometown. So when I see him, I was happy, man. I was happy. I've known him for years. And, Joel trusted me with Julio's career towards the end of his career and said, help me get some fights. And Julio had some of his biggest fights. He fought Sean Porter twice, Keith Thurman, Amir Khan, and put up great fights. So I'm like, come on, guys. Aparte que son familia Diaz, so let's hang out. Let's have a little drink. Let's have a little caviar. I remember that. That was cool. I have a picture somewhere of that night, that afternoon.
I'll never forget that moment because Antonio was like, what's caviar? Antonio está bien indio. They got him up from the cerro and they brought him down, right? So then Roberto was teaching him how to put caviar. So then all of a sudden Antonio was all excited, like, hey, you know how much that is? I go, I don't know. Man. And then Roberto, before he closes his tab, he tells the guy, hey, I don't even know what he ordered. He was going to bring something for his wife. So they have to put it on a little box with ice and, okay, boom. And then he goes, do you see how much you paid? No. And he goes, man. And he's bringing some home. I go, hey, well, he works hard for it. So that's one of the moments in Heathrow that we'll never forget.
El Indio Toño jumps in. It was nasty. ¿Ya ves?
Ay, pinche Toño.
Okay, so now I'm going to picture this. You have half a dozen Mexicans in Heathrow Airport in London having caviar. That just sounds like a bad movie right there. Like, there's no way.
We're just lucky there was no immigration there.
But those are the moments. Those are the moments that you'll never forget. You cherish.
Yeah.
Even though it was a quick before we jump on our plane and go home. It's. I got pictures of Amir and Julio after the fight together behind in the locker rooms and stuff. And it's just those moments that, you know what? That's what boxing really does. It unites people from all over the world. They can go. They're trying to knock you out. They're trying to put a beating on you. But after, there's hugs, there's respect, there's love. And then they can go have a drink,
Lots of it. And that's what ThursDIAZ is all about. It's not about the news or what's going on here, what's going on there. It's about the stories to Joel Diaz, who is kicking out a transient and a new gym. Toño trying caviar in London. It's ThursDIAZ is all about the story. So thanks to everybody who participated today, left the comments, got involved. Without you, the support is huge. We'll do it again next Thursday. We learned all about Frito-Lay, so we can get them sponsoring the show. It was great. An hour and 53 minutes just flew on by. So for everybody, stay home. Don't do anything stupid. Don't burn off your fingers with M80s. Let the Cholo neighbors light them up. Don't spend your money on that. So have a great 4th of July for Joel Diaz, Roberto Diaz, and Robert Garcia. Thanks to everybody who's been watching ThursDIAZ. And that one guy we won't mention, Bobby.
No, don't.
We will not. So we will see you next Thursday. We will have a great time, and we'll continue to go. So have a safe and happy 4th of July. Thanks, everybody.
Happy 4th of July.
ThursDIAZ is done.
Happy 4th of July.